hilarious, witty and weird. Glad that you could be with me today, the whole 17 subscribers that we have here. But you got to admit, at least I'm still trying and I'm still endeavouring to be able to provide us with some sort of comment about some of the news items that are happening in the day, and an opportunity for you to have a conversation with me as well. And remember that it's really important, two things, that you subscribe to this particular channel. That'll be really helpful, and to keep you up to date with some of the things that we have to say here. And just to remind you that Avery, hopefully when he's still recovered from his coughing and his splurting, will be able to join us also to have a conversation with us about the things that matter to him. And also, if you wouldn't mind going to our Patreon site and subscribe there as well, and contribute so that we can continue to deliver these incredible and wonderful commentaries that we have on the media and other things. And would like to be able to just have a conversation today about the right wing's attitude towards particularly Biden's election, and now he as president of the United States, and the importance that that has in terms of how we as a society are viewing some of the things that Biden is doing, and the contrast, I guess, that exists between he and Trump. And one of the most exciting aspects of this has been something that Allan Jones said the other day that I found fascinating, to say the least. And so I'm going to play you some clips of this. It's not very long. I will intersperse it with some comments. But it's interesting to see how the right wing have chosen now to approach some of these, approach the fact that there is a new president, a different president, and a left-wing or moderate president compared to the idiot that they had there as the 45th president. So the 46th president is a different beast altogether, and is endeavouring to unite and bring together a country which clearly is quite divided. So this is an opportunity now for us to have a look at where some of our right-wing commentators are going in relation to Biden, and this bloke particularly is one of them. So let's see what he has to say.
Goes, unfortunately, to Joe Biden. The narrative that Biden is a moderate centrist and a Catholic, and therefore not captured by the far left, is a total fiction. The bloke is obsessed with identity politics. First, it was that he had to have a woman, preferably of colour, to be his running mate. Enter Kamala Harris.
Now,
tick. And now he's
Now, there are two issues here. Number one is that he's got this thing about identity politics that I find that a bit frustrating, primarily because the identity politics ran rampant in Trump world, and here we have Allan Jones talking about the impact that Biden now has because he's into identity type politics. And the reality is that Trump was about identity politics. So when they're talking about, so when the right wing starts talking about identity politics, I can't help but think that it's a wee bit or a lot hypocritical. So I guess one of the things here is that we'd like to just take into account the fact that identity politics does exist in the United States, but the Biden is far more interested in having the right people doing the right job, and the critique that Jones offers here around the type of people that Biden has put in place, and if we make a comparison between the type of people Biden has versus the type of people that Trump have, there's a stark difference. But it just appears to me that that this man just doesn't seem to get it. So here we go. Let's see what else he has to say. I might have to go back to the beginning a little bit because I forgot to alter the thing, but just have a look.
Goes, unfortunately, to Joe Biden. The narrative that Biden is a moderate centrist and a Catholic, and therefore not captured by the far left, is a total fiction. The bloke is obsessed with identity politics. First, it was that he had to have a woman, preferably of colour, to be his running mate. Enter Kamala Harris. Tick. And now his cabinet's full of people chosen not on their ability, but because of what they are. Appointments based on race, ethnicity, gender, and sexual orientation. Peter Buttigieg is the former mayor of South Bend in Indiana. He's talented, intelligent, and a Rhodes Scholar. He's openly gay and ran for the Democratic nomination against Biden. But the Midwest city of South Bend has a total of 60 buses across 18 bus routes, and its roads are famously littered with potholes. But Biden has appointed Buttigieg as his transport secretary just so that he can boast he's appointed America's first openly gay cabinet member. It's widely reported that Buttigieg wanted the ambassadorship to the United Nations, but Biden gave that position to Linda Thomas Greenfield, so she'd be America's first black ambassador to the UN. Biden then appointed the left-wing economist Janet Yellen as his Treasury Secretary, so he could boast that Yellen is, quote, the first ever woman to hold Alexander Hamilton's position as Treasury Secretary.
Now, I just querying why it is that Allan Jones believes that for whatever reason, Biden's just making all these selections because they are different. I think the reality is they just happen to be different than the type of people that Trump would have had. And I can't help but think of DeVos, for example, as education secretary. She knew nothing about education. There were inquiries in Congress in relation to what she was doing with regard to education. It was clear that she didn't understand anything. The guy that was in charge of it wasn't energy, it was the environment. So the guy they put in charge of the environment happened to be an advocate for oil companies. So, you know, the contrast between Biden putting in place these people that have some degree of understanding about the jobs that they're doing versus the people that Trump put in that had no idea as to what some of these issues were, I find stark. I find it surprising. And I just can't understand why sometimes people as intelligent as Allan Jones is supposed to be can start taking this particular view. They are so anti the left wing that they will find the slightest thing to criticise. The fact that Buttigieg did come from a small town, but he is a smart man. He deserves to have this role. He actually did stand as a presidential candidate. He has something to offer. The fact that he's gay has nothing to do with it. The fact that Biden chose a transgender person for one of his assistant positions, I think, is an indicator that he's looking outside the box. He's not looking into just those people that are part of the swamp, as Trump did. He's looking to those people that can offer difference. The fact that he chose Kamala Harris is not just about the fact that she's black. It's the fact that she's probably the most suited person for that particular position. That she is black is helpful. No one's going to deny any of that. But the point is that she has the ability to be able to do the job. And I don't think Biden's putting anybody in place who is inadequate. And there were heaps of people that resigned, that were grifting through their positions, that were endeavouring to use the position in order to gain whatever they can personally out of those positions. Trump was full of them. So to criticise Biden at all, I just find preposterous and really hard, really hard for me to understand.
Says she's all about achieving income equality for middle-class workers, but Biden's pick for Treasury Deputy Secretary is this Adewale Adeyemo, who helped Obama negotiate the Trans-Pacific Partnership, an agreement which sold out middle-class America. And to tick the transgender box, Biden has appointed the Pennsylvania Secretary of Health, Rachel Levine, a transgender woman, to be his Assistant Health Secretary. Now, this is the same Levine who, as Pennsylvania's Health Secretary, recommended to the general public that leaving seniors in their nursing homes was totally safe during COVID. At the same time, she quietly pulled her own mother out of a nursing home and checked her into a private hotel room. But this is Biden. This sort of hypocrisy goes unchallenged. But you have to wonder what on earth is...
Well, it doesn't go unchallenged because there's nothing really, Alan, to challenge. Um, why? Why is it that we must find the need to challenge somebody just because they choose people that are different from what their predecessor may have chosen? That is a crazy notion. It doesn't make any sense to me. Why can't we celebrate the good things that maybe Biden has considered and is doing in this particular presidency? It's early days yet. We've got a long way to go. We haven't had any resignations yet, and probably won't have many resignations during this presidency at all, as opposed to Trump's hundreds of resignations that there were. So it is different. But why is it that people like Jones, as ignorant and as stupid as they are, cannot accept that there is a difference between the past president and this one? Is it because if they had to acknowledge that Biden was doing things differently, that maybe it would also appear to be a criticism of Trump? And there's no way in the world that we could ever allow such a criticism to take shape, is there? So the result is that we need to find things to criticize. And you look at that range of things that Jones was trying to criticise, and you realise how stupid they are, and that is a man. To me, it's sad. Like he's talking about this woman who's, and I can't verify that story. I don't know whether that woman had taken her mother out of a nursing home or what she had done, and we don't know the circumstances around that anyway. We just don't understand that stuff. So what that is about, I have no idea, and why he would even raise it as a minuscule criticism of this particular person goes to show us how little Allan Jones has to be able to comment about, and how critical he must seem to be or want to be of somebody who is different from the clown that was there before, that Jones celebrated. And I think that if anything, Jones should be placed in probably old folks' home, because maybe it's time that he went. That the criticism that is offered over the last 4 or 5 years has been benign, because nothing has come of it. It hasn't changed anything. He's just a big mouth who's got really nothing of substance to say, we need to chat, but we need to also challenge. Like is a voice. He's on Sky News. As irrelevant as I think he is, clearly some people think that he is relevant, and maybe something will happen to him as happened to Lou Dobbs in the US. That perhaps he might be stupid enough to say something that is really offensive and is going to affect the subscriber base that Sky News have. So let's see what happens. But I just want to finish by saying that we'd like you to become a more involved part of this particular website. And we'd like to have conversations with you about things that are important to you as well. So please let us know what you would like to talk about, and go to our Patreon site as well and contribute there if you feel free or able to do so. Thanks very much for being with us, and we look forward to catching up with you next time on Wise, Witty and Weird.